Hi class, this is Janae. We are going to, in this video, work through the first couple of problems on the home and auto homework. It really isn't that difficult, and hopefully based on the class discussion that you can figure it out. I just wanted to create this video to help anybody who needs a little extra help. They unfortunately don't have helps on this one like they normally do, so we're going to work through it together. So we've got Hector and Maria who've been married for a year. Maria is an executive at a large multinational corporation and she travels around the world. She relocates every couple of years. Hector is a salesman and he's willing to move where Maria gets transferred. They make $8,000 together. 40% of that goes to taxes and withholdings every month. Between them, they have $400 in student loan payments, $700 to car loans, credit card payments of $450 per month. They currently lease a condo for $1,400 a month. Plus, they like to travel to Cancun. They both work a lot a lot of hours. They eat at restaurants for most of their meals. They don't have any savings, but the grandparents of Hector are going to give them a 20% down payment for their new home. So the first question is, based on their incomes, how large of a PITI can they comfortably afford to pay? So you know from reading and the class discussion that PITI stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And you'll remember, so if you haven't given this a look yet, so in your textbook there is figure 8.7, it's page 258 in your textbook. It has these two methods of calculating how much someone can afford with PITI. So one is the 28% rule is method 1, and method 2 is the 36% rule. So let's look at how we do this. So we need to get monthly income, which we have. So for Hector and Maria, their monthly income is $8,000. And then we need to say the 28% rule is pretty easy. You take their monthly income and you times it by 28. So that's going to be an easy one. But if we look down here at the answers, we see that some are the 28% rule and some are the 36% rule. So we need to kind of scroll down and see what this 36% rule is about. So 36% rule, here's where lenders take again your monthly income, the same as method 1, but here you get to take 36% of that monthly income, but you have to minus all of your non-mortgage debt payments. So for Hector and Maria, that's their student loans, their car loans, and their credit card payment. And then how this is set up in the book, they said that they're going to take out real estate and taxes after that. But since we're looking at a number that includes taxes and insurance, we don't have to take that out. We can just compare this number to that number with it in there already. So we're just going to do these first 3 steps on method 2. But what if, since it's a little bit easier, let's just start with method 1 and see if that lines up with any of the answers. So method 1 is take the annual income. So for them, annual income is $8,000. And we just times it by 0.28 and we get 2,240. So if we look over here at the answers, we've got answer B says the 28% rule says 2,240. Since those line up, let's go ahead and give this a try. And it says, great, we got it right. We didn't even have to do the more difficult one. So here's the next question. Assuming a PITI of approximately 1,300 for the townhouse, what will they be approved of for a mortgage? So if this is what they're looking at for a PITI, will they be approved for the mortgage? So we've got some answers that are one's the 28% rule, one's the 36% rule, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So we already did the 28% rule, and that was 2,240. Over here it says no, based on the 28% rule, they will not be approved. But since this number is a lot bigger than that number, based on the 28% rule, they would be. So we can't do that answer. It's going to have to be one of these other ones. So we are going to have to look at the 36% rule. We thought we got out of it, but it turns out we're actually going to have to do it. So for this one, if we go down to the steps on the 36% rule, again, get monthly income, then times it by 36, and then minus the non-mortgage debt payments. So 8,000 times 0.36. And we aren't doing anything with taxes because this does say of the gross monthly income. So we are using the gross means before taxes. So this is 36% of their take home. Now we're going to minus all of those payments they make. So they make a payment of $400 on to student loans. They make a payment of $700 to their car loans. They make a payment of $450 to their credit cards. Let's just double check that we have looked at all of the different payments they have because it's pretty close here. So $400 on student loans, car payments, credit card bills. This other stuff, the condo would go away if they have a new place to live, so we don't have to count that. The trips aren't going to count. So this is the number. So just barely, based on that 36% rule, they will be approved. All right, so the rest of the questions in here are just multiple choice. This first one's a little bit tricky, so I am going to talk you through it. It says a loan origination fee that is paid to lenders is generally $1,200 to in the $1,300 range. And it's something that covers the cost to process and finalize the loan. So part of this question is true, but we've got to determine if all of it is true. So yes, loan origination fees are paid to the lender. The textbook says that they are usually, so the loan origination fees are 1% of the loan amount. So does that mean that we can give this typical range if it's 1% of the total amount? So we can have houses that sell for, say, $150,000. If we times that by 0.01, then we get $1,500, which fits in that range. So for a $150,000 house, that'd be true. But what if we're going to buy $1 million house, which that happens, right? Sometimes people have $1 million house, times that by 0.01. That means that their loan origination fee could be up to $10,000. So this range is helpful for some houses, but it really doesn't tell us the full range there. So a more correct answer would say 1% of the house cost. So the answer on this one is going to be false. So I'm pretty sure you can figure out the rest of these. PITI, we talked about it earlier in the video. What does that stand for? Part of it is principal and interest. What are the other items? And then you're going to talk about private mortgage insurance. It says it's typically not needed with a down payment of 20% or larger. What is private mortgage insurance? Who has to pay it? Who does it help? I'm going to give you a hint. It doesn't help the person who pays it. It helps somebody else. And then we're going to, review back on some of the positives of renting versus buying. There's some pros on each side. Anyway, there's a little video, help you work it through. Hopefully that answers any of the questions that you have. If you got these wrong and you wanted to try again, go ahead down here when you're finished. Just pick one of these, check the answer. You will, just wanted to show you where this is at. You can try again, and you can start back over at the beginning to try again. So let me know if you have questions. I will be back next week, and I'll see you then. Bye.